How can you incorporate worship into your waiting seasons this week?
It's a it's a deep question, isn't it? One that really gets to the heart of how we navigate those difficult times.
Hmm.
We're doing a deep dive today into
Okay.
something pretty powerful. This idea that, you know, real strength, real transformation can come when we choose praise.
Yeah.
Not just when things are easy or prayers get answered instantly, but right smack in the middle of the uncertainty, the difficulty, the waiting.
That's exactly right. We often think of worship, don't we, as something for the mountaintop moments, the victories.
Right, the celebrations.
Yeah, or when we get that clear answer.
Yeah.
But the truth we see time and again is that actively, connecting, expressing faith during those times,
During the wait.
during the wait, during the struggle, that's when it can be this incredibly profound force, especially when we feel stuck or lost or just wrestling with things.
So the idea isn't really praise after deliverance, but more like praise while you wait. Precisely. And think about what that actually does. I mean, when everything feels heavy, maybe even hopeless,
Yeah.
choosing to lift your heart, to worship, that's fundamentally an act of defiance.
Defiance against despair.
Yeah, it's like saying, okay, even here, even now, in this situation, I'm choosing something else. I'm choosing hope.
It sounds like an internal shift, like changing your posture on the inside, deciding where to focus.
That's a great way to put it. It absolutely aligns your heart towards hope.
Mm-hmm.
And, in that silence, maybe when answers aren't coming, it's a vital reminder
A reminder of what?
that there are powerful forces, powerful realities still at work. Even if things aren't moving on our timeline or how we expect them to, it reminds you you're not alone in it.
And I imagine that has to do something deep inside, right? Strengthening your spirit.
It really does. It strengthens the soul. And what's also fascinating is this capacity it seems to have to actually shift the atmosphere.
Shift the atmosphere. How so?
Well, the feeling, the spiritual and emotional climate, not just inside you, but around you, around your situation.
Okay, shifting the atmosphere. That's a powerful thought. It feels almost counterintuitive when you're stuck in something bleak.
You can feel that way. But let's look at an example, a really timeless one from Scripture that illustrates this perfectly.
Okay.
The story of Paul and Silas. Just picture their situation for a moment. They've been unjustly beaten quite severely,
Right.
thrown into prison, not just prison, but the inner cell, the most secure part. And their feet are fastened in stocks.
Wow. That's about as low as you can get. By any human standard, that's a time for, I don't know, complaint, fear, giving up,
Exactly. You'd expect maybe silence or crying or angry shouts.
utter despair.
But that wasn't their reaction.
Not at all. The scripture tells us specifically about midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God.
Midnight. So the darkest point, literally.
Yes. And it adds, and the other prisoners were listening to them.
So not just praying and singing, but doing it in a way that others heard. In chains. In the worst part of the jail. They weren't waiting for morning, were they? Or for some rescue plan. They chose worship while bound, while suffering.
That timing, it really hits home. Their worship wasn't because things got better, it was their response in the bad circumstances.
That's the core of it. And that detail, the other prisoners listening, it suggests their worship created, well, an environment, didn't it?
Yeah, an atmosphere.
Right? Where even in that darkness, others could witness something different, something profound. That kind of faith, expressed right there in the difficulty, it really does seem to strengthen the soul and, yes, shift the atmosphere.
That's such a compelling story. But okay, that was a long time ago. Does this principle, this truth, still work today? Does it still hold power?
Oh, absolutely. It's not just an ancient idea. We see these echoes, these reflections, in stories from our own times.
Like what?
Well, consider a family in Japan. They were facing this long, agonizing wait for a really crucial medical diagnosis for someone they loved. A heavy, heavy waiting season.
Oh, wow, yeah. The uncertainty there must have been tremendous.
Unbelievable stress. And what did they do? They decided to start holding nightly worship sessions. Right there in their home.
During the wait?
During the wait.
Mm.
And the father, he shared something really insightful. He said, we couldn't change the outcome, but we could change the atmosphere.
Change the atmosphere. There it is again. That connects right back to Paul and Silas, doesn't it?
It really does.
Even though the medical results are totally out of their hands, they found a way through worship to transform the feeling, the spiritual, emotional climate of their home during that wait.
Exactly. Worship became their tool for that. And then there's another story. Farmers in Kenya, they were facing a really severe drought.
Oh, that's critical. Delayed rains mean...
Potential ruin.
Yeah.
Yeah, it threatened their entire livelihood. It wasn't just inconvenient, it was potentially devastating.
So you might expect desperation, maybe protests, calls for aid.
Right. But instead, these farmers chose something different. They gathered together for community worship.
As a community, praising together during that kind of crisis, that adds another layer, doesn't it?
It really does. And the story goes that weeks later, the rains came.
Wow.
And when they talked about this breakthrough, they credited, yes, their faith, but also the unity, the strength they found together through that communal worship.
So it shows it's not just an individual thing either. Shared faith, worshiping together, can have this powerful collective impact.
Definitely.
Okay, so these examples, ancient and modern, they really paint a consistent picture, don't they? Pulling it all together, what does this really mean for us, for anyone listening, wherever they are, whatever they might be facing?
I think it boils down to this core takeaway. Your praise, your worship, it is powerful. It has weight, even when prayers feel like they're hitting the ceiling, even when you're deep in that waiting season.
Stuck in uncertainty or delay?
Exactly. That choice you make to worship, it's never wasted. It's never ineffective.
It feels like it unlocks something important in that difficult space. Maybe peace, peace in the pause.
Peace in the pause. I like that, yes. Because that period of waiting, of delay,
Hmm.
it doesn't have to be just empty time you endure.
Right.
It can actually become a place where you discover a really profound peace. Not necessarily because the outside situation changes instantly.
But because something inside changes, the atmosphere shifts.
Precisely. Your internal response shifts. The atmosphere around you begins to shift because you've chosen a different posture.
This speaks so directly to, well, to all of us, really. We all face waiting seasons. You know, waiting for a job or healing or a relationship change or just clarity on something.
We do. All kinds of waiting.
So this isn't some abstract theological idea. It feels very practical, grounded, a way to actually navigate those times.
It truly is. And it encourages us, doesn't it, to look honestly at our own waiting times, whatever they look like, and ask, okay, how can I apply this? In my specific situation, how can I choose this path? How can I use worship as that active stance against the despair, that way to reconnect with hope, to strengthen my soul, and seek that shift in the atmosphere around me?
It really challenges you to think about those quiet, maybe difficult moments. What are we doing with them? Are we just letting the weight crush us?
Or are we choosing to engage? To engage a deeper power through praise, through worship?
Yeah, it's not about pretending the difficulty isn't there.
Not at all. It's about activating something transformative within the difficulty. Worship in the waiting, it really is a powerful act. It brings hope, it brings strength, it shifts the atmosphere, and it unlocks that deep peace we all need when we find ourselves in the pause.
So, as you go through your week, maybe navigating some waiting seasons of your own, big or small, maybe carry this question with you.
Let it be something to reflect on, a possibility.
How can you incorporate worship into your waiting seasons this week?